The day after accepting my campus crush's confession, I was transported 10 years into the future. When I opened my eyes, a child with big, round eyes timidly called me Mom. I later found a dusty wedding photo in a cluttered storage room. To my shock, the groom in the photo wasn't my crush, it was him. I woke up in a strange bed, disoriented, when a small figure darted through the door. I immediately pretended to be asleep, lying still. Soft footsteps approached, and a tiny hand gently touched my forehead. A childish voice chattered about what he'd eaten and played recently. Just as I wondered about our relationship, his next words jolted me awake. "Mom, you've been sick for days. Why haven't you woken up? You don't like Tommy, but I miss you so much. Please wake up." Mom? This kid was calling me Mom. I snapped my eyes open to see a wide-eyed, cherubic boy staring at me in alarm. Before I could speak, he dashed away. Oh my God! Just last night, I'd accepted Mark's confession, and now I had a kid this old? After he left, I grabbed my phone to call my childhood friend, Lisa. My phone had barely any messages, and old contacts were gone. Lisa answered after several rings, her voice colder than I'd ever heard. "What do you want?" I hesitated, thrown off by her frostiness. When I stayed silent, she snapped, "Anna, speak. Didn't you say you never wanted to talk to me again?" What on earth had I done in the past decade? "Lisa, I know you're mad, but hear me out. I need to know, who's my husband?" That was my top priority. She paused. "Anna, did you forget your meds today?" Wait, was post-2025 Lisa being passive-aggressive? "I'm serious. Are you messing with me?" "Ugh, just stay home. I'm in a COVID test line, but I'll come over later." Her tone was dead serious. Was I actually sick instead of time traveling? And what was a COVID test? Why did it require lining up? Just then, a nanny-like housekeeper knocked, cautiously asking if I felt better or wanted food. My mysterious husband must be loaded. I nodded, and soon, elegant dishes appeared, all my favorite foods. Score. I tried probing about my husband. The housekeeper looked startled, only saying he was on a business trip and wouldn't be back for a month. Good, by then, I'd hopefully adjust. I dug in ravenously. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the kid peeking from the doorway. "Hey, you, come here," I called, guessing he might be my son. He jumped, then shuffled over, looking nervous. Why was he scared of me? Was I a rich man's evil stepmom? I smiled warmly. "What's your name, sweetie? How old are you?" His chubby face fell, confused a mom could forget. "I'm Tommy, Mom. Thomas Wilson. I'm 4.5. Wilson. So I didn't end up with Mark after all." "Tommy, who's your dad?" I asked. "He's Tommy." "There you are. Time to study downstairs." "Don't disturb Mrs. Wilson," the housekeeper interrupted, rushing in. "Sorry, ma'am. I'll take him away." She practically dragged him out, leaving me confused. Everyone acted like I was a ticking time bomb. No wedding photos or signs of another person in the luxurious bedroom. Was he the pays monthly, never home type? The house was a 2-story mansion. Downstairs, Tommy sat by the window, quietly doing a puzzle. Sunlight glowed around him, his long lashes drooping, adorable. I practically lunged over, startling him. "Hey, buddy! What are you doing? Mom will play with you." His eyes widened, he stood stiffly, like he was at attention. "Mom," he mumbled. I pulled him close and kissed his cheek. He touched the spot, surprised. His reactions made me realize, future me probably didn't like him much. Thank God he was too little to hold a grudge. After playing, he happily showed me his puzzle. "Tommy, is this your only toy?" I asked. Kids his age usually had tons. He glanced at me warily. "You said other toys were too noisy. You got angry. Yikes. Future me was a mess. Just then, the doorbell rang. Lisa. I barely recognized her, long, wavy hair, flawless makeup. Gone was the tomboy I knew. Wow, who's this goddess? I gasped. She rolled her eyes. Tommy, though, hugged her warmly. Aunt Lisa. Let's talk upstairs, she said, patting his head. In my room, I blurted out everything before she could speak. She frowned, studying me. How do you know you time traveled and didn't just lose your memory? I remember my last meal before the shift was tomato beef stew in the college cafeteria. And exams from 2 days ago, I still remember the questions. Amnesia wouldn't leave those details, right? She raised an eyebrow, silent. She knew me too well. Okay, fine, I mumbled. The day before. I accepted Mark's confession. Her face dropped. She sighed and spilled the past decade. Turns out, future me had bipolar disorder, triggered by Mark's emotional manipulation. He'd pretended to be perfect but secretly gaslit me. By the time Lisa noticed, it was too late. Mark lied that Lisa hit on him and I'd cut her off. At 27, he dumped me for a college roommate, who'd just inherited millions from a demolition payout. I spiraled, diagnosed with bipolar. Damn, that's rough, I groaned. My tragic backstory. But who's my husband now? She hesitated. James Wilson. What? James, our childhood neighbor, the perfect model student. Gorgeous, brilliant, kind. As kids, I'd annoyed him on purpose but secretly crushed on him. Then he'd moved abroad. Now he was my husband? This was like the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, unthinkable. Wait, Tommy was 4.5. I broke up with Mark at 27. Lisa, is Tommy. She winced. We weren't speaking then. I heard. Mark caught you and James in bed. But honestly, I don't know about Tommy. My brain short-circuited. Was I raising another man's kid with James? No wonder the room lacked his stuff. He must resent me. But why marry me then? Lisa, if Mark cheated, how did he catch me with James? James wouldn't do that. Details are fuzzy. Mark broke up with you, but you refused to let go. Then he found you two together and flipped the script. This is insane, I groaned. I was a full-on idiot. She patted my shoulder. After gaslighting, anyone would break. But Anna, be good to Tommy. He's suffered enough. James is gone half the year for work, and you ignored him. I teared up. Fake dad or not, I was his real mom now. Tommy was getting all the love he'd missed. I remember my last meal before the shift was tomato beef stew in the college cafeteria. It was amazing. And I took an exam 2 days before the time jump. I still remember the questions. If this were amnesia, would I really hold on to tiny details like that for 10 years? Lisa raised an eyebrow but stayed silent. She knew me as well as she knew herself. I bit my lip, embarrassed. Fine, the day before, I'd just accepted Mark's confession. Her mouth dropped into a frown, and she let out a bitter laugh. Then she spilled the decades' worth of drama. Turns out, future me had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, triggered by Mark's cheating. After he started dating you, he acted perfect but was gaslighting you the whole time, Lisa said. By the time she noticed my decline, it was too late. Mark lied that Lisa had hit on him, and in my fog, I'd cut her off entirely. At 27, he dumped me for a college roommate, who'd just struck it rich with a demolition payout. The betrayal pushed me over the edge into mental illness. Damn, that's brutal, I groaned, massaging my temple. This was the stuff of tragedies. But who's my husband now? I pressed. She paused, then said, James. What? I never in a million years expected to hear that name. James, Lisa, and I had grown up as childhood friends, same apartment building, same school. He'd been the textbook perfect kid, handsome, brilliant, kind. He'd helped grandmas cross the street, gave up his seat for elders. As a kid, I'd resented how my parents praised him, but as a hopeless romantic, I couldn't stop staring, often making him blush. Once I hit my teens, I'd harbored secret crushes, but with so many girls after him, I never dared act. Even when he'd shown me subtle attention, I'd brushed it off as just friendship, especially after he'd moved abroad for college. Now Lisa was telling me we were married? It was like hearing the Cubs won the World Series. A thought hit me. Lisa, Tommy's 4.5. I broke up with Mark at 27. So is Tommy. She winced. We weren't speaking then. All I heard was that Mark caught you and James in bed. As for Tommy, I honestly don't know. My brain reeled. Was I raising another man's child with James? No wonder the house felt like mine alone. James must regret marrying me. But why would he have said yes? Wait, if Mark was the cheater, how did he catch us? James isn't the type to cheat. The details are fuzzy, she said. Mark tried to break up with you, but you refused. Then he used some setup with James to flip the blame. This is wild, I muttered, rubbing my face. I feel like I have a beautiful case of brainstem deficiency. She patted my arm. Welcome to the club, hon. Gaslighting turns you into a zombie. But Anna, regardless of this memory thing, do better by Tommy. He's suffered enough. James is gone 6 months a year for work, and you used to ignore him completely. I teared up. Maybe James wasn't his biological dad, but I was damn sure going to be the mom he deserved. Tommy, get ready, Mom's love bomb is incoming. I'd just finished drafting my mommy love checklist when Tommy started kindergarten again. Apparently, the earlier break had been summer vacation. Most private schools like his stayed open, but wealthy parents often took kids on trips. Remembering him alone with his puzzle, my heart ached. I vowed to take him out soon. At dinner, he swung his legs, chattering about his first day. After a week of bonding, he wasn't scared of me anymore. That night, he surprised me by asking to sleep in my room. In his dinosaur PJs, he snuggled close. Mommy, tell a story. I grabbed a book and winged it. Once upon a time, there was a snow prince. When I finished, he giggled, Tommy's the snow prince. Mommy's the princess. I'm gonna marry Mommy when I grow up. I teased, but Mommy's already married to Daddy. His smile faded instantly. Come to think of it, Tommy never mentioned James on his own. Was James unkind to him? Do you not like Daddy? I asked gently. He shook his head wildly. I love Daddy. It's just. He glanced at me nervously. The message was clear, I'm the one who disliked James. That couldn't be right, could it? One day, after the nanny dropped Tommy at school, I tackled the storage room. Buried in a corner, I found our wedding photo. In it, my face was blank, robotic, while James smiled, though his eyes held a shadow of sadness. Ugly, I thought, flipping it over. But a small box fell out. Inside, Tommy's birth certificate, old notes I'd passed to James in class, and a love letter. It was from 16-year-old James to 16-year-old me. My chest ached. It was like biting into a plate of bitter melon stir-fried in vinegar, all sour regret. 16 years too late. I stared at it for ages before quietly putting it back. At the kindergarten gate, teachers herded tiny kids. Tommy spotted me instantly, waddling over like a duckling. Thank you for picking me up, Mommy, he beamed, cheeks flushed. My heart melted instantly. Mommy will pick you up every day after school, okay? Can you drop me off in the morning too? I shook my head firmly. Buddy, Mommy can't wake up that early. Just then, a little girl ran over. Ma'am, are you Tommy's mom? I nodded. She eyed me curiously. You're so pretty. But why didn't you ever pick him up before? The kids say you don't like him. Before I could respond, Tommy grabbed my shirt, scowling. Don't say that. Mommy loves me. The girl looked between us, confused. I quickly smoothed things over. At home, noticing Tommy's glum mood, I bought him all my favorite snacks and promised a huge birthday gift. His eyes lit up. Yay! Daddy said he's coming back too. Oh no. I just found that love letter today. How was I supposed to face James when he returned? That night, following my mommy duties list, I tried to bathe Tommy. He refused stubbornly, eyes wide. I have a wee-wee, and you don't. I'm almost 5, I can do it myself. I pinched his chubby hand. Really? What if shampoo gets in your eyes? And you're still 4.5, mister. He hesitated, then grudgingly let me help, though he blushed the whole time, covering his wee-wee. Tommy's birthday arrived, and he was giddy until midday, when a torrential downpour hit. James was due on a late flight. Would he make it? I called Tommy over to open presents early. I'd bought 5 gifts, hoping to make up for past neglect. Even a sensible kid like him couldn't resist new toys. Just as we zoomed around on his electric ride-on car, James walked in, soaked, suit clinging to him. Tommy yelled "Daddy," and rushed over, but James' eyes locked on me. My heart raced. Even without the time travel, we'd barely seen each other in 2 years. And wow, glasses, wetsuit, mature aura. Total dreamboat. Hi, I stammered. He peeled off his damp jacket and hugged me tightly. I froze. Was this too fast? I'm home, Anna, he murmured in my ear. I hugged back, ignoring the butterflies. It's just a spousal hug, get a grip. He eyed me curiously but said nothing. By the time I lit the candles, James had changed. I opened my mouth to sing happy birthday, and froze. Tommy glanced between us, then declared loudly, I wish I can sleep with Mommy and Daddy tonight. I bit my lip, proud yet embarrassed. But James just smiled at him. Wishes don't come true if you say them out loud, buddy. My enthusiasm deflated. Right, Tommy might not be his biological son. As soon as Tommy was out of earshot, I confronted James. We need to talk. His face fell. I'm tired. Can we do this tomorrow? Wait, he just hugged me, now he was brushing me off. Fine, but I'm unplugging your shower heater later, I grumbled. Of course, tomorrow turned into him avoiding me entirely. He was gone by the time I woke up, at 9 or 10 a.m., which Lisa found deeply suspicious. Do you like James? She asked at the cafe. I sipped my coffee too quickly. Mark was charming and handsome, but James is different. She rolled her eyes. This is all his fault. If he wasn't such a shy geek, Mark wouldn't have stood a chance. True. Blame the introvert instead of myself. Before I could elaborate, my phone rang. 20 minutes later, I stood at the kindergarten, called in for a parent meeting. In the office, Tommy stood defiant while another kid wailed. The teacher said he'd pushed the boy, who'd scraped his hand. Why did you do that, Tommy? I asked. He buried his face in my stomach. He called you a mean name and wouldn't apologize. Just then, the boy's parents stormed in. The father leered at me, the mother snapped, How dare your kid hurt mine? I'm sorry Tommy pushed him, but your son insulted me first, I said calmly. The boy, now brave with his mom there, piped up, I didn't. I just said she's pretty like a homewrecker. Kids don't invent such words. You know, little ones who swear get their tongues bitten off by wolves at night, I said sweetly. The boy shut up instantly. His mother sneered, he's just a kid. My husband is a CEO, you can't talk to us like that. Probably a gold digger, leaving your kid alone all the time. Before I could retort, she lunged for Tommy. I stepped back, but she aimed a slap at me, only for James to grab her wrist midair. Enough, he said coldly. The father paled. James Wilson? Sir, we didn't realize. Funny, since your CEO husband here was just watching while his wife attacked my wife, James said icily. Tommy's actions were wrong, we'll cover medical costs. But first, your family will apologize to mine. They babbled apologies, but I ushered Tommy out. I didn't want him seeing their groveling. That night, I cornered James. He tried to flee, but Tommy hugged his legs. If this is about divorce, can we not do it in front of him? He sighed. Divorce? No. I pushed him into the bedroom and pinned him to the door. His ears turned red. Taking a breath, I explained the time travel. He listened silently, then nodded. I noticed a change since his birthday. I thought, you wanted to leave me. Leave you? Why would I? Because Tommy isn't my biological son. And our marriage hasn't been happy. Wait, what? James, Tommy is your son, I said, recalling the birth certificate. His eyes widened. Slowly, he confessed the truth. Mark had set up a fake cheating scene to break up with me, and James had stepped in to marry me when he found out I was pregnant. I loved you then. I still do, he murmured, avoiding eye contact. My heart swelled. So husband is your magic word, huh? I teased, tapping his glasses. He coughed, blushing harder. We talked for hours, childhood pranks, his secret notes, even my habit of stealing his snacks. Why Tommy? I asked. He mumbled, Tom and Jerry. You used to call me Tom when we were kids. I bit back a smile. God, he's adorable. That night, I didn't ask him to move back to our room. Some things are better left to time, but now I knew we had all the time in the world. And as for Mark, let's just say when he invited me to a class reunion, James accidentally wore his best suit, and we arrived with Tommy in tow. The look on Mark's face, comparing his dad bod to James' sharp features? Priceless. But that's a story for another day. For now, I'm content with our little family, even if our first attempt at a romantic bike ride ended in a $20 fine for overloading the e-scooter, or when James caught us sneaking street food, oops. Life's messy, but with James and Tommy by my side, it's perfect. The woman sneered, he's just a kid. Why threaten him? My husband is a CEO, what's wrong with my son calling you out? Besides, he's not wrong. You never showed up before. Who knows what you do for a living? She scanned me disdainfully. I mimicked her stare. Ugly inside and out. No wonder the kid talks trash, must hear you barking like a dog at home. Who are you calling a dog? She lunged for Tommy, but I sidestepped. The teacher rushed to intervene as the scene spiraled. Just as she swung at my face, a hand shot out to grab her wrist. James, jaw tight with anger. Are you here to solve this or start a fight? He snapped. The husband's eyes bulged. James, sir. He yanked his wife back, stammering apologies. Fancy meeting you here, Mr. Chin, James said coolly. Turns out, the CEO was a supplier James' company was negotiating with, a man known for sleazy behavior, whose wife's constant yelling had warped their son. James cut them off. You didn't seem interested in solving this earlier. If I hadn't arrived, my wife would have been hit. We'll cover your son's medical costs, but first, apologize to my family. They bowed and groveled, but I pulled Tommy out. I hated letting him see such groveling. At home, I tried to talk to James. I have work, he said, avoiding me. Not so fast. I nodded to Tommy, who clung to James' leg. James sighed. If this is about divorce, can we? Divorce? I dragged him into the bedroom and pinned him to the door. His ears turned crimson at my husband. As I explained the time travel, he pushed his glasses, flustered. I noticed a change on Tommy's birthday. I thought, you wanted to leave. Because I was awful to you? I frowned. What about the cheating setup? And Tommy? Tommy is mine. Trust me. He hesitated. The rest, maybe forgetting is a gift. James, we need to be honest. He blushed harder, then spilled everything. Mark had staged the cheating scene to break up with me. James married me when he learned I was pregnant, but I'd resented him ever since, keeping separate rooms. Can we bankrupt Mark's company? I asked. He smiled faintly. We reported him, but no evidence. And you denied everything at the time. Ugh, past me was a disaster. We talked for hours, childhood pranks, my stolen snacks, even my breaking Tommy's car. Why Tommy? I asked. He coughed. Tom and Jerry. You used to call me Tom as a kid. I bit back a smile, eyeing his discarded Tom-themed pajamas. Dorky and adorable. I didn't ask him to move back to our room that night. Some things take time, but we had it now. Then Mark invited me to a class reunion, tagging me publicly. Of course. Want me to come? James asked. Absolutely. I want to confront him, but with backup. He smirked. As you wish, Mrs. Wilson. The reunion day, our nanny canceled, so we brought Tommy. I left James in the car with him, wary of gossip. The moment I walked in, whispers erupted, sympathy, snickers, curiosity. Through the chatter, I learned Mark had dumped me for our roommate, who'd inherited demolition money. Now he ran a successful company, or so he claimed. When Mark arrived, I barely recognized him, receding hairline, dad bod, puffy face. Gone was the campus heartthrob. Anna, you look great, he lied, eyeing my ring. I smiled stiffly and ducked into the bathroom, calling James. Get up here. I need an exit strategy. He chuckled. On my way. As I stepped out, a shadow blocked my path, Mark, reeking of cologne. Can we talk? I've missed you. Back up. I'm allergic to trash. He ignored me, reaching for my hand. I was wrong to leave. Let's. Is there a problem here? James' voice cut in, cool as ice. Mark paled. James? Since when are you two? Since always, James said, draping an arm around me. Tommy peeked from behind him, clutching a toy car. Mark's wife arrived, eyeing James hungrily. Who's this? Anna's husband, James said, hand tightening on my waist. The room went silent. I smiled sweetly at Mark. Thanks for the invite. We'll be going now. As we left, I heard whispers. James Wilson is her husband? Mark looks like a potato next to him. Outside, James smirked. Satisfied? Absolutely. I leaned into him. Though I could have used a bit more drama. He kissed my forehead. Next time. Tommy yawned, reaching for both of us. Hand in hand, we walked into the sunset, literally. And if James accidentally bumped into Mark's new luxury sedan with our minivan later? Well, that's between us. Life's weird, but with my boys? I wouldn't trade it for anything. Even if James still hides his Tom and Jerry plushies in the closet. Some things never change. The shadow spoke again. Anna, have you been okay these past years? It was Mark. I'd mistaken him for a wardrobe someone had dumped by the restroom. When I recoiled in silence, he tried to grab my hand. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Stay back. I'm allergic to ugliness. His face twitched, but he quickly composed himself. Anna, are you still mad at me? I had no choice back then, I cut him off with a wave, bowing deeply 3 times. Thank you for not marrying me. You did me a huge favor, I said, then fled back to the party. I'd barely sat down when Mark followed. The room went silent for a beat, then erupted in whispers. Who is that? Is he a new classmate? He's gorgeous. Even Mark from back then can't compare. I looked up to see James entering. Relief flooding me, I looped my arm through his. Everyone, this is my husband. Since Tommy was waiting in the car, we didn't stay long. Side by side, Mark and James looked like generations apart. No such thing as unresolved regrets, I thought. As we left, James teased, canceled your grand revenge plan? Leaning on his shoulder, I pretended to sway. Already won. The summer breeze was gentle. Let's leave the car here and walk home as a family, I suggested. Under yellow streetlights, Tommy bounced along, belting out "Love You Walking Alone in the Dark Alley," a popular kids' song. I whispered in James' ear. He turned, eyes bright, grinning like Tommy. Spotting a shared e-scooter, I tugged his arm. "Honey, I'm tired. Let's take that." His soft smile vanished, replaced by a doubtful look. "In that dress?" I batted my lashes. With a sigh, he tied his suit jacket around my waist, then balanced Tommy in front and me behind on the scooter. Tommy's delighted laughter filled the air until we were pulled over by a traffic cop 2 blocks later. 3 on an e-scooter? That's a $20 fine. We ended up taking a taxi home. Months later, I ran into Mark again while grabbing street food with Tommy. The scent of fried stinky tofu led us to his cart. He paled at the sight of me, then rambled about tax issues, clients leaving, and his accountant stealing his funds. Now bankrupt, he still tried to guilt-trip me. "Don't worry, I'll help," I lied sweetly. Once out of earshot, I called the city inspector. "I'd like to report an unlicensed vendor." Watching Mark's cart get seized, I fake sobbed, so sad about the tofu. Tommy nodded solemnly. "Yep, we didn't eat any fried skewers or cold noodles." James found us lurking in the crowd. "Liar," he said, eyeing our greasy fingers. "Fine, but street food is fun," I protested. He sighed, pulling out his phone. "Text me your orders next time. This stuff is unhealthy." As we walked home under the city lights, Tommy sandwiched between us, I thought, perfectly messy, perfectly us.